This video is made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're doing a speed build for my businesses and hobbies mini series. I did post a create a sim of me making the sim for this series yesterday, so if you guys want to go ahead and check it out, then feel free to do so. I'll put a link to it in the description and also put an I button in the top right hand corner if you guys want to go ahead and click on it. But today's build, I went in not really knowing what I wanted to essentially build, other than I wanted to make sure I made a tattoo shop because that is the first business my sim is going to be going into. So that was the primary thing I wanted to focus on. So in this case, I did decide to do a live-in business situation where the tattoo shop is at the bottom, and then I did a studio apartment on the second floor, and then there's an empty studio apartment on the third floor. So that one just has like the basics. And can we talk about the roofing for a minute? Because I don't know if I even did it right, because that little, I don't even know what it's called, that front piece on the roof, I have no idea what you would call this, but I don't know how to make it line up properly with the roof. I did it so that I only extended the points. Again, sorry, I'm not really a builder and I don't know building terms, so I deeply apologize for any builders watching and they're like, girl, it's called this. I'm sorry. I went to other builds in this world to see if I could figure it out, and I honestly don't know. I tried, okay? So if it looks funky, feel free to fix it, but I do not know. So I think it looks okay, but probably could be better. So I did go ahead and scope out locations before I picked this specific lot because I wanted to see what other spots were available. And even though there were already 4 empty lots, I ended up picking a lot that already had a build on it. So I did bulldoze it and built my own, clearly. So the other lots, I wasn't really a fan of how open space it was. This one just felt tight-knit and kind of cozy with all the other buildings around it. So I decided to place mine here. And I did try and match the way that the other buildings looked. Obviously, it's sort of like a single tower as opposed to some of the other buildings where they're connected to a bunch of other buildings. Now, I do have room to be able to upgrade this build, especially on the right side, because I didn't add windows on that side because I'm thinking in the future that I do want to add maybe potentially another tower or like a little extension for a second business. But for now, I just added trees on that side and kind of like a little pathway with some vendor stations, which you guys will be able to see towards the end of the video. But now we're moving on to the interior of the tattoo shop. So I really wanted to go with more of a darker theme because my sim loves to wear black mainly, so I wanted to incorporate that theme throughout the interior of the build. Now the exterior isn't black, it is very much what I want to call Shrek green, and I love Shrek, so you know, honestly, I don't necessarily mind it. I did try and make it red briefly, like towards the end. I was like, maybe I should do red, which I did like, but for some reason, I think since I've been using the green color, it's more like a yellowy green than a Shrek green, but I'm calling it Shrek green, so please respect that. I'm sorry. You don't have to respect it if you don't want to. But if there were a black swatch, it'd be a whole nother story because I would have just done that. I didn't pick a black paint color because I wanted to have the building match that little roof piece that I was talking about earlier. So I just stuck with the color that we have. As far as decorating the build goes, I didn't want to go too heavy with clutter, which usually I like to clutter up my builds as much as possible, and I could probably even clutter them even more so, but I wanted to sort of stick to using mainly the items from the pack, which I pretty much did other than a few things. I think the only other packs that I did use is vampires for the front desk items, and then I did use the magazines from the Moschino stuff pack, which, by the way, I kind of wish that they would have done a clutter item of an open booklet with tattoo ideas in there, because I'm pretty sure most tattoo shops have that, or maybe I'm mistaken, but I know I've seen it before, so it would have been really cute to have as a decor item. And then also like more tattoo designs to put up on your walls. I did see in official screenshots of tattoos on the wall, and I'm not sure if that's a part of being a tattoo artist in the game, that you're able to draw tattoos and then post them up on the walls, because if that's the case, then I might have my sim do that, just so that this place can feel even more like a tattoo shop, because I mean, it already is one, but I think it'd be really awesome to incorporate some more of my Sims designs. But We'll see if that's actually a thing or not, or if you guys know, then let me know, but I'll probably find that out once I get into gameplay. I did also make sure to include a bathroom downstairs because, you know, if they have customers coming in, then they can use the restroom, plus so can my sim. I also do wonder if my sim got employees and I had another table for them to tattoo on, would they actually tattoo, or would they just, like, I wonder what they would do. I didn't even think about that, because like I haven't really thought about how employees work in the small business scenario, because I know how they work in the get to work retail system. So, you know, I guess I'll find this all out. I don't know why I'm asking so many questions. Like, I haven't played yet. I've only done cast and build so far. Well, that's not entirely true. I did do some minor testing, but that was for the purpose of my build and stuff. I did also go ahead and play test this build to make sure that everything functioned properly, and thankfully everything works just fine. However, I did have some minor issues in the studio apartment, but I did kind of fix it up so it works just fine, which I'm really happy about, because I was so concerned with like the living room slash dresser area, which is not really a dresser, it's just a clothes rack with clothing hanging off of it. But other than that, everything is working out. Also, let me say, for the longest time while I was building this, I thought that the windows were a white and black swatch, and then come to find out when I went close up, it's a dark green. That's why the door that leads up to the apartments is green, because I wanted to tie in the windows. But at the beginning of me building, I was like, oh yeah, a black swatch, lovely. No, why wouldn't they make a black swatch? I feel like at this point they should know that a lot of us want simple white and black swatches for any items. I'm pretty sure they did like a few updates where they added more simple swatches, so I was a bit upset about that, but you know, it's fine. You can barely tell. I bet you didn't even know until I mentioned it. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's green, but you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have brought awareness to it. So yeah, they're black windows, okay? They're black. So now we're moving on to the studio apartment area. I did go ahead and place some doormats in front of both apartments. So the upstairs apartment is just a copy of the bottom one. So the only thing it has though is a kitchen and bathroom stuff. Other than that, it's completely empty, which I would assume like nobody's living there. I did try to see if you could make this a residential rental lot with the for rent expansion pack. However, it does not work. So that does kind of suck, because it would have been nice to have somebody else living upstairs and actually, you know, be properly paying rent for this place. My sim's probably been paying a lot of money living here, because it's not going to be a regular, you know, apartment bill. It's going to be like the whole lot bill. So I wonder if they'll ever make that a possibility. I know that the whole for rent residential rental has caused safe corruptions. I did cover that in my Create a Sim video yesterday, but I'm hoping that won't be the case with the whole live-in business situation, because that would be awful. So let's hope not. I will say that when I was building this, I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to fit all the necessities needed for your sim to live, because I didn't really pre-plan the size of the build at all. I kind of just wing it every time I go to build. Thankfully, everything fit. Now, I'm glad that I had that little nook area for the bathroom, because if I had to fit the bathroom sort of like we did downstairs in the tattoo shop, it would have been quite a mess. So I think I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Also, I do have the balconies, which, you know, they're kind of... See, I did try to make them look more like they fit the build. They kind of just stick out. Okay, so I have an update to the balcony whilst I'm editing this video. So I ended up going back into the game, and I wanted to see if I could actually get it to work. So what I ended up doing is I put a floor right underneath the balcony, and I built a ceiling and then added the frieze onto that. So now both the balconies can have a frieze and look like they match the build and not just like randomly sticking out, which honestly, even if they were randomly sticking out, it doesn't really bother me, but I think I like it a little bit better now. I also mainly built the balconies more so for extra space for my sim, because this apartment is already quite small, and the balcony can be used for multi-purposes. Like if you want to put your dining table out there and eat outside. Well, I mean, if you want to eat outside in the winter, I mean, you could, but if you wanted to do that. But my sim has a kiln outside because they are getting into pottery. So it's nice to have that space there. It's funny because they have a studio apartment, but their bathroom is pretty big. Like they have a bathtub and a shower in there. So I'm honestly not complaining, but it was a nice challenge decorating a fully livable space, because I personally like more cluttered up areas in general. So the smaller the build, the better, because you will not catch me building a mansion. Well, let me not say that, because what if I do one day? I don't aspire to build a mansion. Thinking about that stresses me out. I'll be so real. I didn't even know this was a 20 by 15 lot, and it still felt like a lot to me. And usually 30 by 20 is like my safe space. But when I saw this was 20 by 15, I was like, oh, really? Like, I thought it was much bigger than that. No. Maybe that needs to be a challenge for myself, is to try and build a mansion, even though I know I will deeply struggle. But I guess that's part of learning, is you struggle until you know better. I mean, that's me with building in general. Like, I don't build enough to develop my skill a lot, but I would say I'm way better than I used to be, because I can definitely look back at old builds, even some on this channel, and be like, girl, what were you doing? I think my first ever build video was me back, I think it was like 2017, making a mushroom shaped house. That video is no longer on my channel because it is so embarrassing. Like, I thought I was being so creative. I was like, oh wow, a mushroom shaped house. It was so bad. But you know what? It's fun to laugh at and look back on progress. So I mean, you know, practice does make perfect, but as someone who expects to be perfect at everything they do at first go, it is hard, because the amount of times I've tried to pick up knitting when I was younger, I would like try for like 5 minutes, give up, and I've never gone back. But that's with me with drawing, with so many things, is like, if I can't get it right the first time, why am I gonna struggle? It's such a weird expectation, because like, obviously when you do something for the first time, you're not going to be great at it. So like, I mean, unless you are, then you know what, props to you. I'm proud of you that you can do that, but some of us just can't. Some of us expect to be perfect, but are not. So it's definitely something I need to remind myself a lot when doing things, is that like, I need to go through steps 1 and 5 first before I get to the final product. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And maybe one day I'll look back on this build and be like, wow, this was so ugly. Look at what you can do now. I mean, I hope that'll be the case. Let's hope. Future me, get to building, okay? So as far as landscaping goes, I really was so lost on what to do to fill in the area, because again, if I had another building connected to this one, it would have been so much easier, less space to work with, but I just didn't know. So I ended up doing what you guys are seeing, is stuck some trees around, which ended up creating this sort of alleyway, and that's where I end up putting those selling tables for vendors if you want to go ahead and sell some items that you've crafted. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the build. I'm gonna need to make sure I go into a save without mods, because a lot of the trees and stuff are modded versions, since I use a realistic override on a lot of the stuff. So hopefully everything looks nice once I get rid of that, because it will not look like this when it goes up on the gallery. So I might need to make some minor changes depending on what it ends up looking like. But I also wish that we got a floor that matched the surrounding stones, because it would have looked so much nicer if the pathing matched all around. And also having a second look on the graffiti that I put, I wish they were more matching together, so I might go back and change that. But with that being said, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys in a new video very soon. Bye guys.